The Kethrani Empire had a museum, not a history museum, not a science museum, not the kind of museum that civilizations built to celebrate their achievements or preserve their culture or give their children somewhere educational to go on weekends. It was a war. Museum specifically, a museum of every civilization the Kethrani had ever defeated, 43 of them. Each one had its own wing. Each wing contained artifacts, weapons, cultural objects, the last transmissions of the defeated civilization's leadership, and a small plaque that listed the date of first contact, the date of subjugation, and the duration of resistance. The duration of resistance was always the number the Kethrani were most proud of. The smaller the number, the more efficiently the campaign had been conducted, and efficiency was something the Kethrani valued above almost everything else. The shortest resistance in the museum was 11 days. The longest was 4 years. 2 months and 17 days. A civilization called the Velthari, who had fought with a ferocity that the Kethrani had found admirable even as they dismantled it, and whose wing was the largest in the museum and received the most visitors. Supreme Curator Dreth had worked in the museum for 31 years. He knew every wing, every artifact, every plaque. He had written 14 of the plaques himself, which was a distinction he was proud of in the particular way that people are proud of things they have dedicated their lives to. He was adding a new plaque when the news arrived. The survey team had found another. The briefing was held in the War Council chamber, a room designed to communicate power through architecture, with high ceilings and dark stone and lighting that fell in ways that made the people seated at the central table look like they were being illuminated by something more significant than electricity. Supreme Commander Fael had reviewed the survey data 3 times before the briefing and had the particular expression of someone who had found the data interesting and was deciding how interested to appear. Designation? He asked. Sol system, the survey commander said. 3rd planet. Single sapient species. They call themselves humans. She pulled up the display. Spaceflight achieved approximately 200 years ago. Current territorial range, modest. Single home system with established colonies on 2 additional planets and several moons. Military capability, she paused. Continue, Fael said. Military capability is insignificant, she said carefully. More significant than their territorial range would suggest. They appear to have invested heavily in defense technology relative to expansion technology. Their ships are well designed. Their weapon systems are advanced. Their tactical doctrine is... She paused again. You keep pausing, Fael said. Their tactical doctrine is unlike anything in our database, she said. It doesn't follow any of the standard frameworks. It's adaptive, improvisational. Every simulation we ran produced different results depending on which human commander we modeled. They don't fight the same way twice. The room was quiet for a moment. Estimated resistance duration? Fael asked. The survey commander looked at her data. Our models couldn't produce a reliable estimate, she said. The variance was too high. Best case in 6 months. Worst case, she stopped. Worst case, Fael said. She looked at him directly. The model kept producing outcomes we couldn't classify, she said. Not Kethrani victory with high losses, not prolonged stalemate. Something else. The model flagged it as outside parameters. Fael looked at the display for a long moment. Outside parameters, he said. Yes, sir. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said the thing that surprised everyone in the room, including himself. Send them a message first, he said. The message was not standard protocol. Standard protocol was arrival with full fleet. Demonstration of capability, terms of surrender, efficient, proven, 43 times proven. Fael had deviated from standard protocol twice in his career. Both times had been correct decisions. He had a sense, not data, not analysis, just a sense developed over 30 years of conquest, that this was a 3rd time. The message he sent was simple. It identified the Kethrani Empire. It listed briefly their history of expansion. It stated their intention to add humanity to that history. It offered terms that were, by Kethrani standards, generous, full cultural preservation, administrative autonomy within the empire, a transition period of 10 years before full integration. He sent it and waited. The response took 6 hours. He had expected days. Most civilizations needed days to process the reality of what they were facing. to move through the stages of denial and panic and desperate calculation before arriving at the response that the math dictated. 6 hours suggested they had not needed the stages. The response was text. No video, no diplomatic ceremony, just words in perfect Kethrani, which itself was notable, because the message had been sent in Kethrani, and receiving a response in Kethrani meant they had translated it in 6 hours, which meant either they had very good linguistics technology, or they had been expecting contact and had prepared. The response read, "We have reviewed your history. 43 civilizations in 400 years. We note that the Veltari held for 4 years, 2 months, and 17 days, which we found interesting. We also note that you sent a message before arriving with your fleet, which is not your standard protocol, and we found that interesting as well. We would like to propose a different kind of conversation than the one your message suggests. Not surrender negotiation, we are not going to surrender. But we think there may be something worth discussing before either of us commits to a path that is difficult to reverse. We are sending coordinates for a meeting point. We will come alone. We ask that you do the same. If this is not acceptable, we understand, and we will see you when you arrive." Vial read it 4 times. "We are not going to surrender. Not we cannot surrender. Not we are considering our options. Not the careful diplomatic language of a civilization trying to buy time. We are not going to surrender. Stated as a fact, without aggression, without bravado, simply as information, offered the way you offer information to someone you are treating as capable of handling it." He went to the meeting. Admiral Yena Okafor was waiting at the coordinates in a ship that was, Vial noted, approximately the same size as his own. A choice that communicated something deliberate about how she wanted the conversation to begin. She was younger than he had expected. Mid-40s perhaps, dark eyes that processed everything in the room in the first 3 seconds and then settled into a focused attention that he recognized as the quality of someone who had learned to be fully present because partial presence had cost them something important at some point. She did not stand when he entered. She gestured to the seat across from her with the ease of someone in their own space, which she was not, which was either genuine comfort or a very good performance of it. "Supreme Commander," she said, "thank you for coming." "Admiral," he said. He sat. "Your response to our message was unusual." "We found your message unusual," she said. "You don't normally send messages." "No. Why did you?" He considered the question. It was direct in a way that bypassed several layers of diplomatic preamble that he had expected. "Our survey data suggested standard protocol might not produce standard results," he said. "That's honest," she said. "I appreciate that." She folded her hands on the table. "Can I be equally honest?" "Please." "We've been watching the Kethrani Empire for 60 years," she said. "Since we first detected your expansion pattern. We've been watching and learning and preparing, not because we wanted a war. We don't want a war. But because the data suggested one was likely eventually, and we believe in being ready for things that are likely." She paused. "We know your tactical doctrine in significant detail. We've run approximately 14,000 simulations of a Kethrani human conflict. We have a good understanding of how it would go." "And?" Vial said. "It would be very bad for both of us," she said simply. "Not just for us, one for both of us. The Kethrani Empire would win probably, eventually. But the cost would be significant enough to affect your capacity for further expansion for a generation, maybe 2. She looked at him steadily. "We are not the Velthari. We fight differently. Every commander differently. Every engagement differently. You cannot build a model that predicts us because we don't follow a model." She paused. "Your own survey team's simulations flagged this." Vial was very still. "You have our survey data," he said. "We've had it for 3 weeks," she said. "Since your team entered our outer system. We let them complete the survey because we wanted you to have accurate information about us before this conversation." She tilted her head slightly. "Did that concern you? That we knew and didn't interfere? It concerns me now," he said honestly. "Good," she said. "It should. Not because we're threatening you when we're not, but because it tells you something about how we think. We had the option to interfere and we chose not to, because we wanted this conversation to happen with both of us fully informed." She unfolded her hands and placed them flat on the table. "We don't want your empire. We don't want your territory. We don't want tribute or submission or any of the things that conquest produces. We want to exist, develop, and be left alone to do it. Those are our actual interests. Everything else is negotiable. Vale looked at her for a long moment. In 43 campaigns, he had sat across from representatives of civilizations facing subjugation. He had seen fear. He had seen desperation. He had seen courage of various kinds. He had seen the careful performance of confidence by people who were not confident. He had never seen this. "Whatever this was, what do you want from this conversation?" he asked. "I want you to leave having decided that the cost of taking us is higher than the benefit," she said. "Not because I've threatened you, I haven't and I won't, but because you've done the actual math with actual information and reached that conclusion yourself." She paused. "I also want to give you something." "What?" She slid a data chip across the table. "That contains everything we know about the Revanhari," she said. Vale looked at the chip. The Revanhari were a civilization at the edge of known space that had been in the Kethrani's future expansion plans for approximately 20 years. Almost nothing was known about them. Several probes had been sent. None had returned. "How do you have this?" he said quietly. "We sent a mission 4 years ago," she said. "We lost 2 ships. We got the data." She looked at him. "The Revanhari are not what your probe suggested. They are significantly more dangerous. The expansion path your empire is currently on takes you into direct conflict with them in approximately 30 years. Based on what we know," she paused, "it would not go well for the Kethrani." The room was very quiet. "You're giving us intelligence on a common threat," Vile said slowly. "I'm giving you information that is relevant to decisions you're going to make," she said. "What you do with it is your choice." She looked at him steadily. "We lost 2 ships getting that data. 11 people. We're giving it to you anyway because we think a Kethrani empire that knows what it's walking into is better for everyone than one that doesn't." She paused, "Including us." Vale looked at the data chip for a long time. "Why?" he asked finally. It was the only question left. Okafor was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, it was slowly, as if she was finding the words as she went rather than delivering something prepared. "Because we have a long history of learning things the hard way," she said, "of walking into things we didn't understand and paying the cost of not understanding them. We have spent a great deal of our history doing that to each other, fighting wars that could have been conversations, paying prices that could have been avoided." She looked at him. "We got tired of it. Not everyone. Not all at once. But enough of us, enough times that it changed something about how we approach these situations." She paused. "You came to add us to your museum. I'm suggesting there might be something more useful we could do with the next 400 years than fight about who ends up in whose collection." Vile returned to the Kethrani fleet that evening. He sat in his command chair for a long time before saying anything to his staff. He thought about 43 wings in a museum, about plaques listing durations of resistance, about the Velthari and their 4 years, 2 months, and 17 days that everyone still talked about what it meant that the thing he was most proud of was a collection of things that no longer existed. He thought about a data chip containing intelligence that had cost 11 human lives and had been given to him anyway. He thought about a woman who had said, "We are not going to surrender," as a simple statement of fact, and had meant it so completely that it had not felt like defiance at all. He called his senior staff. "We are going to do something we have not done before," he said. "We are going to have a longer conversation. I need everyone's full attention, and I need no one to assume they know where it ends." His staff exchanged glances. "Sir," his tactical officer said carefully, "the fleet is in position. Standard protocol would—" "I know what standard protocol would," Vale said. "I wrote 4 of the plaques in the museum." He looked at the display showing the Sol system, blue and small and entirely unbothered by the fleet surrounding it. "I am interested in something that is not in the museum." "What is that?" his tactical officer asked. Vale looked at the display for a long moment. "What happens next?" he said. "When you choose the conversation instead."